also I'll share my screen in a second. So if I share my screen now, good. And if you someone want to let me know that you can see a, screen with a silly home page, nod or some other thing, great. So basically what's changed with WordPress is back in 2018, the WordPress editor that always looked like this got upgraded from a WordPress point of view. It was then, Gutenberg was introduced, and now when we add a new page, we're confronted with a page that looks like this and allows us to add content by adding blocks. And from a content creator's perspective, this has actually been received pretty well. Our clients that have adopted it really like it because it gives you a better visual experience. But what's really changed for Civi is when we think about our Civi content, how do we get content onto the front end of a website? And a lot of our folks have wanted to embed the content in a page. And for that, there has been shortcodes. So I think everyone's familiar with an add new page. And if we have a shortcode page, we have our CiviCRM modal button. And we click that, and can everybody see the pop-up? Can I get somebody to nod or? Yeah, good, okay. This is what we see. We basically say, what type of content do we want to add? I'll say contribution page. It then asks us to select what we want. And it talks about some options. I'll talk about them more later, but it's live or test drive. Don't override the content. And that basically is talking about how we want WordPress to show, whether it's just Civi content or Civi plus WordPress content. We insert it and we get a shortcode. And if you've used WordPress, shortcodes have been everywhere for years. And this was the standard experience. When we publish the page and view it, we get the WordPress page and our form. So, it's been working. With WordPress 5.0 that was released in December of 2018, Gutenberg, or the block editor, was introduced. And what that allows is us to add comment in a more dynamic way. So I'll just say donate now. And now we have what are called blocks. And we can search for blocks, we can add all, and we can add a paragraph block, we can add a heading block. And this is my heading. And we get on the right-hand side, we get to change the font size, we get to change color settings, we can even do crazy stuff with backgrounds. And this is the experience that the users have come to adopt. So we're like, okay, we want to add our Civi content. So we know we have shortcodes. So we're going to add a shortcode block. Unfortunately, the experience is not what our user would expect, because what we have here is no button for us to choose what Civi code to put in. We only have a place to type. And if we know the syntax, can I get back to here? I'll take this the long way. I didn't stage this, I guess, the right way. If we copy and paste the shortcode and hit publish, we still get the form. Shortcodes will work in WordPress. Many are discouraging their use because they want everybody to convert their shortcodes to blocks so that it works natively with the editor. But I personally don't expect them to disappear anytime soon. I think that they'll be around for quite some time. But is that the way we really want to be editing pages in WordPress these days? So what we have is a plugin that Christian Walk and Andre Mondock created called CiviCRM Gutenberg blocks. Pretty simple on the naming side. And what does it do? So what I'm going to do here is just add a new page and we'll start talking through it. So I'm going to create a donate to us, trying to keep the names consistent or different. And we now have a block called CiviCRM content. And what this does is it brings up a content block. It defaults to the user dashboard because that is the first in the dropdown. And that mirrors, are we still over here? That's mirroring the order that we have here. Because what this plugin does is tries to take the existing shortcodes and add them as blocks. So rather than the user dashboard, I'm going to say I want a contribution page. It comes through blank. We're kind of working on that to get a little bit better user experience. And I click on the drop down and I can actually see all of my contribution pages. I'm going to choose help support CiviCRM. And what we immediately see is that we're previewing the content in the admin, which is the default, what's the word I'm looking for? Which is the default for the new block editor. When you add blocks, you're now seeing the content as it exists. We have the same options, live mode and test mode, override the page content or not. And if we override the page content, the Civi form completely takes over the site. I'll do it without. And we have the normal, or we have the standard Gutenberg experience. I can add another block. I'll add an image, upload, no, not upload, media library. I already did some of this. There we go. Okay. I'll add some rounded corners and I've got this. And then I decide I actually want this above the content. So with the Gutenberg editor, I can move that up. I'll hit publish. And let's take a look at the page. And here we go. I assume people that are really good at content, meaning not me, can make this look a whole lot better. But the ability to have the blocks there is a nice thing. And now we have our help support us. And we get it on a URL that we've created. So this is donate to us. So an advantage of using the shortcodes or the blocks is we can have our own URLs. I fill out the form. Yeah, let me fill it out. I'll be brave. What I didn't say is that this is under active development. In fact, the version I'm running here is only a few hours old. So if something goes wrong, we'll just deal with it together. Review my contribution brings us, just like it does with a shortcode, to a subsequent page where if we have the two-step contribution form turned on, we get to confirm, make our contribution, and it takes us to the thank you page and sends the email. So it is a very, very nice drop-in replacement for this. So let's go back over here. Donate to us, edit with the block editor. A couple of more options that I want to talk about is that, what does the override page content do? And it does the same thing that it does on the shortcode. If I update this and open this in a new tab, my image is gone. The actual post title is gone because I've completely overridden the page content, and we have help support CiviCRM, and it's the same form. So we've mirrored all of the existing functionality that we have. You know, if anyone has any questions, feel free to pipe in. I'd rather kind of make this interactive than just talk through each of these type of blocks. So I'll stop for a second and take a sip of water. Any questions from anyone here so far?
Yeah, one question, Kevin. Aidan here. Yeah, it looks really good. Just one thing I noticed on there. So on that preview that you're showing us, it's not showing the Civi title, which is good. But when you come to the published page, it did have the Civi title in there.
Oh, that's great. I didn't notice that.
Just that one of the things that
no, I gotcha.
is that, you know, getting rid of that Civi title is good from my perspective. But when we came to the published page,
yeah. Okay. No, I like that. We'll definitely put that as an issue. But that's actually a great segue. If I don't override the page content, update this. Now, when I come back, I'm going to get two titles. And this kind of drives me a little bit crazy. It's driven some other people really crazy. So one of the next thing to bring up that relates to title is if you had written, if you had written a plugin or code to extend the CiviCRM shortcodes, generally you did it by adding additional shortcode attributes. So that's actually in the Civi Gutenberg plugin. We have the ability to add extra attributes. So I'm going to add one of the favorites that we have. Civi, so I hope I get this right. I hate talking and typing. Civi title, hide, update. And if I come back to the donate page, if I've done things right, we've got the WordPress title and we've hidden the Civi title.
Yeah, nice.
Now that is not actually in the core CiviCRM Gutenberg plugin, that attribute name. That's an additional add-on plugin that Christian Walk did. Dana knows a while back because it was driving.
I said I need it because I need to get rid of the title, and then
there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is probably one of the most useful extra features that we've seen. We've also talked about should this actually be a standard option. You know, I think
and then to add, I think some of these things that we're testing or we're adding as additional plugins, and then the goal is either to get it into core or into the same plugin eventually.
Right.
Once we test it and make sure that
Yeah, I mean, in reality, I'd like to get it into core myself because that way, as people make requests, they're looking for additional shortcodes because that's what the Civi core product has, and I'd like to start thinking about adding things as blocks. A good example of this is if we go to add a new page, okay, if we go back to, whoops, I lost it, but that's okay. I'll do it all here. PCP give. One of the things that was done just this morning was very recently, there's been an update to the shortcodes. Previously, the personal campaign page would only show the info page. Now, if we choose a personal campaign page, we can have the info page, or we can display the contribution page. And one of the nice things here too is if we notice, you know, if we change the shortcode, we don't actually see, so we get good visual feedback by using the blocks. So I'll make this the contribution page. I'm going to override the page content. I now cannot unsee that I don't see the title from Civi in the view. That's fantastic. Publish that, go look, and there's the Civi title because I overrode the content. And it's just, you know, for me, it's just a, you know, a much better user experience.
There's
one of,
a, oh,
Mhm.
there's a question in the chat that can you apply theme fonts and colors to the Civi part?
No, because we're still just rendering the markup that Civi's generating. You'd still have to take care of any of that through CSS yourself. Oh, I can see this now. I didn't know I could see the chat. That's a great question. No, I don't know how we could do that.
You're really just embedding the
Yeah,
form.
because
Yeah.
if you look at if you actually come and look at the form, what's really happening here is we are taking the entire markup from the CRM contribution page ID. Everything is basically just rendering the same form. Like if we go back out to this page, this is the this page I had preloaded, and this is, you know, my test site CiviCRM /contribute/transact reset equals 1 and ID equals 1. That ugly URL that we know is the way to get to the contribution page. It's the same exact thing as that, just embedded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're still embedding all of that content in here. Okay. So one of the driving forces for this is that if I go, well, I'll just add a new page. So when I look at this site and I come into the editor, you know, I've got a plugin installed called Classic Editor that allows me to switch back to the Classic Editor. And having it around is real valuable right now because, well, for the CiviCRM button and for any other plugins that you might be using on a WordPress site that are not fully Gutenberg compatible. Those are getting less and less. But the concern that I have about why I really wanted to start getting more folks looking at this is that currently the Classic Editor isn't what they call an official plugin. It's maintained by the WordPress team. And they've stated that they're going to support it until 2022. So, you know, they're not big on dates, but does that mean January 1st, 2022, December 31st, 2022, or maybe they'll extend it? But the whole idea was to give people a time to transition. You know, 2019, 2020, 2021, you know, 3 years is a lot of time to transition. So I'm hoping to get all of our clients transition to using blocks instead of short codes, because, you know, we're going to potentially lose the Classic Editor. We just don't know when. So to me, that's kind of what drives the timing at this point. Okay. We've done that. I'm just taking a look at my notes of the things I wanted to cover. I liked this as the first little meeting we had because it's pretty sweet, pretty short and very simple. Any more questions? Do you want me to go through all the other block options that we have? Would that be helpful to folks? Silence.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, you know, we normally add a dashboard, and if I know how to spell, that would be fantastic. You know, the user dashboard has no options. I generally, on the dashboard page, always override the page content. I know, Dana, do you do the same? That's one page I don't think we want to add anything to in most cases.
That's only, I mean, I understand why you do that. I guess you shouldn't never use columns when you use this.
Oh, yeah.
It should be full width, but yep, above and below would be fine.
That's true. So if we then come back here, I'll go add. I keep adding images because as far as I'm concerned, it's just way easier for me to add images. then anything else, update, and view the page in a new tab. And it's the Civi dashboard. And oh, I overrode the page content. So back to the block, choose not to. And now we get dashboard, so we get the title twice. And then we have the image that I randomly placed there. We start talking about, I guess we'll do a profile. So on profiles, we have all of the same option. Create, that's going to create a new contact. Edit will pick up my information and let us edit them. View is just a view with no update. And of course, we have the search public directory, which this one's not set up for. So, love live demos, but we'll do a create. I'm going to put in my hide the Civi title. And I'll call this add a contact. Publish. And let's see, this one gave us problems earlier. All right. So oh, come on, Kev. And there we go. We've just added a contact. We can come back to this page and say, what we really want here is in edit mode. And now I can add my address. And there we are. And I can go show you all that it's changing in Civi, but I think that, we can trust well enough. This would, of course, let us show a directory in my test site. I didn't think of that ahead of time, so I don't have a profile set to be a public directory. So we'll just have to take my word for that. I'll do a membership form. Add the content. Memberships are on contribution pages. Member sign up. Well, in this case, we've already shown that. Publish, and that's what we've got. We've seen some real interesting things.
Events, Kevin.
Okay. I
Don't
know.
forget event. Everybody loves events.
I'm getting there, Dana. It's okay. So just that there. Okay. So we'll get you no, I'm going to do the summer solstice. I never do that. I always do the fall fundraising dinner. All right. So if we look at events, it's got the two options of, do we want the event info page or do we want the event registration page? That's a good one. And that's not rendering the preview. Thanks. Okay.
Maybe the registration is closed or passed.
That'd be great. Hold on. Yes, registration is closed. So there we go.
Because Civi does that.
That's right. Yeah, it's a demo. Something's going to be different. The fall fundraiser is definitely open. And there we can switch. I'm already registered, but I don't care. There's the register. Because I'm already registered.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the same type of things.
What Civi does.
What Civi does. And it's already registered. Register another participant. And now we're rendering the page. I will. Do I have a third event? I must have a third event in here. This is. Finally. And now we actually have an event registration form that I have not registered for. So let's keep thinking. What else do we have here? Pages. Whoops. There we go. I don't have any petitions in this system, and it'll just kick me out. And I'll just create a personal campaign info page just for fun. And it gives us our honor roll. Contribute now will take us to the personal fundraiser. So really, we've pretty much replicated what's going on in the current shortcode implementation via blocks that gives people the ability to add it in the new interface.
Cool.
So Rashani had asked, can you add Civi profiles or event registration forms by adding blocks? Yes, just like you would a shortcode. Is that what you meant?
Yes, that's what I meant.
Okay,
Thank
okay,
you.
okay, no problem. So if we then come back and take a look at this block page that's created, if we just, go through the components that are currently available are the user dashboard, profiles, contribution page, PCPs, events, and petitions. So those components are the same that are in the shortcode. So anything that we can add in a shortcode as of 5/36, meaning the release that came out this week, can be added via the Gutenberg blocks. Yep. All right, let's see what I got on my notes on the side. All right, so that's 12:30, not bad. Melissa had said, let's do it in a half an hour, and I think we did. But let's, any other questions? Do you want, have people have any ideas or would like to know how to help contribute? I'll post in the chat, actually, the link to where the plugin is. This is publicly available at this point, and please feel free to use it. Leave feedback for us with issues or whatnot. The ultimate goal, I think, is to get this into core. But the more we have testing a change like this, the better. The better.
For sure, Kev. Thank you.
All right. All right.
So are you going to be looking at that issue with the
Yeah, I made a
the title
thing.
not showing up? Okay.
Yeah.
By default.
I think we just can combine all title related stuff into that search.
Right.
Right. Well, because basically, yeah, I'm curious why that's not rendering right now, and we'll find out. We'll find out. I don't know if that's an oversight or if that's a limitation without diving in. All right. All right.
All right.
There are, any questions, feel free to, let me know. You can find, Mattermost, the WordPress channel, I guess, would be where it would be most appropriate for something like this. And on CiviCRM Mattermost. And that's there. And we'll also, Christian created the remove title plugin. We'll talk to him about that, about getting that kind of merged in with this one so that there's one plugin for that, not two. Because I definitely think that is, I want, I'd really rather have an option here rather than having to have another plugin and add an extra attribute myself.
Mhm.
I think it's
Yeah,
really
clients,
common.
Clients ask for it so often, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you want,
Understandably.
yeah, we want to hide one or the other. If we're overriding the page content, then we want the Civi title. If we're not overriding the page content, generally speaking, we don't want the Civi title. I don't know that we can assume that we always don't want the Civi title.
Well, if you're doing like a campaign landing page with like multiple blocks and your contribution page in the middle at the bottom,
Maybe
kinda
you
don't
want it.
that
Title,
extra
yeah.
title.
Yeah, I can't assume. I can definitely think of use cases where I'd still want the title,
Right.
Same.
but that's where we're at. And we welcome all contributions, testing. This is a standard WordPress block plugin, so it is actually mostly written in JavaScript with some PHP, as opposed to most other WordPress plugins. But we'll take, pull requests are definitely welcome. Any type of contributing that you can give is great. Getting it out there and having others use it and find things like you're not rendering the title in the preview is fantastic. I really like that one, Aiden, because it's so elementary. But that's what we've got for today. Melissa, Dana, anything else you want to add?
No, just remember to turn off the recording and see if it
Oh, yeah.
renders properly and share it if it does.